28-year-old Alabama woman Abby Newman, whose mugshot went viral in December of 2023, said it might have saved her life after she ended up making $24,000 a couple of days after she was released from prison. A month earlier, Newman was arrested on a charge of theft by shoplifting. Her mugshot was taken at a local police station and then made its way to Instagram on the account Mugshorties. The followers of the page quickly flooded Newman's booking photo with comments, many of which reportedly showed the users thirsting over the woman. One Instagram user commented about the shot, saying that the woman stole his heart. Newman herself went on to discover the post of her mugshot and commented, "Hey look, it's me." In another comment, she revealed that she'd been booked after getting inebriated and stealing a blanket and a coffee mug from a Walmart. When she was released from jail, she saw that she'd gained a massive following on social media and people were tagging her mugshot. Her viral fame consequently drove support to her OnlyFans page. According to Newman, her mugshot going viral might have saved her life, as it came at a difficult time. She added that at that time she just had a miscarriage and was a whole mess. Number 8. Matthew Darwin Hoftalin. Florida man Matthew Darwin Hoftalin, who was arrested for allegedly stealing an Amazon delivery van and taking it for a joyride on February the 18th of 2024, told arresting officers he was lost. The 35-year-old had entered the vehicle on Creek Bluff Way and drove off as the Amazon driver was dropping off a package. Consequently, an Amazon official who had access to real-time surveillance footage inside the van tracked Hoftalin as the vehicle was going off course. That official immediately alerted authorities. In the surveillance footage, Hoftalin appeared to doze off as he was passing through the westbound lanes of State Road 40. At some point, he made a stop at a Circle K gas station on US Route 17, where he was taken into custody. Upon being arrested, the suspect apologized to deputies for taking the vehicle. He claimed that after he got lost, he tried to find his way out of an Ormond Beach neighborhood. He added that he'd thought that taking the Amazon truck would be his way out. The deputies searched the van and discovered a bag containing a burnt pipe, a glass jar with crystal-like rocks, and another bag with a leafy substance and a counterfeit bill. The items were confiscated and then tested, returning positive results for methamphetamine and marijuana. Hoftalin was booked into the Volusia County Brain Jail and held on a $30,500 bond on charges of grand theft, meth trafficking, and possession of weed. At this time, legal proceedings in the case are ongoing. Number 7. Micah Washington. "I am really traumatized," said Alabama man Micah Washington as he spoke about his arrest amid an investigation into the local police department. According to the 24-year-old, he was on his way to pick up his brother on December the 2nd of 2023 when his tire had a real bad blowout. He was on the ground changing the tire when Officer Dana Elmore approached him and demanded that he show her his ID. Washington asked why she needed his ID because it wasn't a traffic stop. Nevertheless, he complied, but continued asking why she needed it. Shortly after, Elmore placed Washington in handcuffs and led him to her patrol car. For some reason, she subsequently used a stun gun on him and held him face down on the hood of the car. Upon being shocked, Washington began to cry, to which Elmore asked, "You want it again?" The officer reportedly used expletives and told the victim to shut up. Washington was later booked behind bars on charges of obstructing governmental operations, resisting arrest, marijuana possession, and possession of a firearm. In an arrest affidavit, Elmore claimed she'd found Washington in possession of cocaine and fentanyl. In the aftermath, footage of the incident went viral, and Elmore was placed on administrative leave. The latest updates indicated that the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency was still investigating her actions during the incident. Number 6. Kamloops arrest. Authorities in Kamloops, Canada, conducted a review after a video of Constable Dave Tucker drawing his gun and making 2 arrests on July the 31st of 2023 was widely shared on social media. According to the statement from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Tucker was conducting patrols at around 6:30 p.m. on the day in question. He noticed a man in a vehicle in the parking lot of City Hall, yelling and swearing at a woman standing with her dog nearby. When the man exited the vehicle, the officer believed that the situation was escalating, especially after he observed another female sitting in the vehicle who appeared badly injured. At that point, Tucker placed the man under arrest for causing a disturbance, but the suspect resisted and handed off a bag he'd been holding to the woman with the dog. In the video, Tucker could be seen handcuffing a man on the ground in front of City Hall before approaching a woman with a dog on a leash. At one point, the dog was seen jumping at Tucker, who then brandished his taser before drawing his gun. He subsequently brought the woman to the ground before handcuffing her. Police said that approximately 0.2 ounces of methamphetamine and an ounce of fentanyl was seized, along with cocaine. Both the male suspect and the woman initially holding the dog were arrested at the scene. For some reason, they were released and no charges have been laid out for them as yet. Following the incident, footage of the arrest went viral and became controversial, prompting authorities to review what had transpired. As of this writing, the results of the police internal investigation regarding the incident aren't currently available. Number 5. Michael Stanford. After receiving social media backlash about the arrest of Alabama man Michael Stanford, the Florence Police Department posted a dash and body cam video showing the arrest as a public response. According to the Florence Police Department, Michael Stanford had been pulled over at a gas station on August the 8th of 2023 for not using his turn signal. During the traffic stop, Stanford didn't roll down his window. When asked to step out of his car, he allegedly refused. Shortly after, officers were seen forcing Stanford out of the car and securing him with cuffs on the ground. The man was booked into jail on charges of disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and criminal mischief. In the immediate aftermath, Stanford's attorney, Jamie Elizabeth Hunter, said that even though the police department posted multiple perspectives of the arrest, it didn't show what Stanford did to initiate the response by the officers. Hunter added that during the incident, her client was dragged out of his vehicle, assaulted, and had his property damaged by the officers. She further stated that they plan to file a civil claim in the near future. Updates on the case were not immediately available. Number 4. Roderick Walker. In the wake of Georgia man Roderick Walker's viral arrest, Clayton County Deputy Brandon Myers had his career irrevocably derailed for the excessive use he'd used in the arrest, which left Walker with a mild traumatic brain injury. The incident took place on September the 11th of 2020, when Walker was a passenger in a car that was pulled over for having a broken tail light. The occupants of the vehicle were Walker, his girlfriend, their 5-month-old child, and his stepson. Deputies approached the vehicle, ordered Walker out of the car and asked for his ID. Walker said he didn't have one and asked them why they needed it, since he wasn't the driver. The deputies then demanded Walker to get out of the vehicle. When he did, Myers threw him to the ground and officers struggled to handcuff him. A cell phone video captured by a witness showed Walker pleading with the officers and saying, I'm gonna die, I can't breathe." The video, which showed Myers repeatedly punching Walker, was widely shared on social media. The man suffered numerous injuries in the incident. He received medical attention and he eventually recovered. In the aftermath, Myers was fired from the department. A Clayton County grand jury declined to charge Walker in the case except for a seatbelt violation. He was later incarcerated in Fulton County on probation violation charges. In August of 2021, Myers was indicted on charges of battery and violating the oath of office. The following year, he pleaded guilty to the second charge. As part of the plea deal, Myers was sentenced under Georgia's First Offender Act to 5 years of probation and 100 hours of community service, as well as a $1,000 fine. Number 3. Taylor Johnson and Chelsea Time. In February of 2024, a woman who went by the name Taylor Johnson on Instagram was reportedly described as insanely beautiful after her mugshot accumulated at least 45,000 likes on the online platform. Her mugshot was shared on the Mug Shorty's Instagram account, which was dedicated to posting booking photos of attractive females to its hundreds of thousands of followers. The post's caption indicated that Johnson from Houston, Texas, was arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated and possession of marijuana. An Instagram user commented on the post saying, "Driving while insanely beautiful," and another said, "She has possession of my heart, Your Honor." The post became so popular that Johnson herself commented, "Posted my mugshot 2 years later is crazy. Didn't even ask me." A month earlier, another booking photo, which the Daily Star called the hottest mugshot ever, was posted by @mugshorties. The mugshot was of Chelsea Time, who had found herself in legal trouble in May of 2023 in connection with allegations of engaging in organized crime, trafficking fentanyl, and second-degree manslaughter. Her booking photo in that arrest went viral and was captioned, "The most liked shorty ever." Number 2. Lakeanne Woods. After being suspected of armed drug trafficking, Florida man Lakeanne Woods was arrested. During the arrest, he was struck repeatedly by police, sparking outrage in the aftermath. The incident took place on September the 29th of 2023, when officers saw the 24-year-old in the front passenger seat of a vehicle, along with 2 other unnamed individuals. The officers reportedly had reason to believe that the group were engaging in a drug transaction, so they decided to conduct a traffic stop and pull over the suspects. In the police body cam footage, the driver and the back seat passenger could be seen complying with directions from the officers, and they were taken into custody without incident. Meanwhile, Woods ran away, prompting a pursuit. The officers chased him through a yard, a parking lot, and a grassy area until they tased him. The video, which later went viral, showed the man falling face first onto a paved street. Detectives were seen hitting Woods in the face, bloody in his jaw, and kneeing him in the head as they yelled for him to put his hands behind his back. Woods' attorneys said that the officers beat Woods, leaving him with excruciating pain, a ruptured kidney, and migraine headaches. One of the attorneys also said that Woods' face was completely purple and swollen to the point that he couldn't see. Soon after, paramedics arrived at the scene and transported Woods to a hospital for treatment. He was later taken into custody on charges of armed trafficking in cocaine, armed possession of a controlled substance without a prescription, armed trafficking in amphetamine, tampering with evidence, and resisting an officer. His mugshot showed him with a bloody and bruised face. In the wake of the incident, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office acknowledged the viral video, alleging that the video created the illusion of an inappropriate use of force. The next day, dozens of people rallied on the steps of the sheriff's office headquarters, holding signs that read, "Black Lives Matter." After, Woods' attorneys issued a letter to the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. A review of the circumstances surrounding Woods' case was conducted. It concluded with the DOJ determining that the detectives had acted appropriately with respect to the law and the sheriff's office policy. The latest updates indicated that Woods was released from jail on December the 1st of 2023. Most of the charges against him had been dropped, but the resisting arrest charge had been replaced with a charge of resisting without violence. Stick around after our last listing in case you have not yet seen our episode about 10 bizarre things that happened on Webcam. It's coming right after number 1. Number 1. Maria del Carmen Rendon. Viral TikTok footage showed police breaking the window of 35-year-old North Carolina woman Maria Del Carmen Rendon's car as they were arresting her and her teen son on October the 15th of 2021. Officers had been investigating a reported felony assault by strangulation involving Rendon's son and a female in the town of Wake Forest. During the investigation, the teen refused to cooperate. At some point, Rendon managed to flee in a car with the boy and 3 other juveniles. As she drove away, she reportedly came close to striking an officer, ran a stop sign, and nearly collided with an oncoming tractor trailer. The officers eventually initiated a traffic stop and pulled over Rendon. One of the officers repeatedly asked her to exit the car. When she didn't, the officer broke the driver's side window, reached into the car, opened the door, and pulled her out. A second police officer took Rendon to the ground and handcuffed her. Meanwhile, the teenagers yelled at the officers while another child cried and screamed. The officers were then seen talking, after which they arrested Rendon's son by pinning him against Rendon's car to handcuff him. The boy was taken into custody and Rendon was charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor, driving while having a revoked license, and reckless driving, as well as resisting, delaying, and obstructing. She was booked into the Wake County Jail with bail set at $3,000. In the aftermath, footage of the incident was posted on TikTok, where it garnered a collective 34.4 million views within a couple of days. Number 10. Thomas Scully Powers. In the middle of a live Alcoholics Anonymous Zoom meeting on May the 21st of 2020, 32-year-old Thomas Scully Powers suddenly began stabbing his father, Dwight, repeatedly while in the nude. The other 20 members of the meeting frantically began calling 911, but it reportedly took them several minutes to establish the Powers' exact location. In the meantime, Scully Powers stabbed his father over 15 times, killing him in the process. It was eventually determined that the incident was unfolding at Dwight's apartment in Amityville, New Jersey. When police arrived at the home, Scully Powers rushed to the second floor and jumped out the window. Inside, officers discovered 72-year-old Dwight's nearly decapitated body, as well as evidence that his son had used a mop and bucket to try and clean up the crime scene. Scully Powers was ultimately apprehended a mile away from the apartment, where law enforcement found him trying to wash his father's blood off of his body with several bottles of Dr. Pepper, which he'd stolen from a nearby deli. The young man allegedly confessed to the crime during police questioning and was consequently charged with murder, for which he faced a possible prison sentence of 25 years to life. Number 9. Busby. On January the 14th of 2022, a Canadian video game streamer known as Busby was recording a session of Apex Legends when police officers suddenly barged into his room. The Twitch streamer had been struggling with the game and had loudly requested help from his teammates multiple times. His screams concerned the neighbors, who immediately contacted the authorities, believing there to be someone in urgent distress. Police officers made their way into the apartment as they too heard the agonized yelling and were captured on Busby's webcam, approaching him from behind. Startled, the young Toronto resident jumped up as one of the officers placed a hand on his shoulder. The gamer apologized for creating a disturbance and assured the officers that he required no assistance. Number 8. Belle Grace. In 2022, British OnlyFans model Belle Grace saved one of her regular subscribers' life after noticing a growth on his testicles, which turned out to be cancer. 27-year-old Belle, who worked as a carer for autistic children and adults before the COVID pandemic, had begun offering her erotic services over the online platform in 2020. Over the course of several intimate video calls with Grace, the client in question, whose name wasn't disclosed to the public, revealed that his genitals had been getting increasingly bigger. The young woman realized that one of the man's testicles was roughly 4 times larger than the other and encouraged him to book an appointment with a doctor. Although the man was embarrassed by the abnormality and initially hesitant to seek professional help, he eventually heeded the model's advice. He subsequently told Grace that the doctor had discovered an aggressive form of testicular cancer. The prompt diagnosis allowed the man to undergo successful surgery and become cancer-free. Number 7. Donald J. Williams. On the morning of August the 11th of 2020, 27-year-old Donald J. Williams gunned down his ex-girlfriend, Maribel Rosada Martinez, as was captured on her daughter's webcam. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, schools in Martin County, Florida, where 32-year-old Rosado Martinez lived with her 6 children, were closed. Classes thus took place over Zoom. While Rosado Martinez's 10-year-old daughter was online for her morning lesson, loud screaming and profanity prompted her teacher to mute the meeting's audio. The young girl then covered her ears before the screen abruptly went black. It later emerged that Williams had broken into the house and opened fire on his ex, whom he'd been separated from for over a year and a half at the time. One of the bullets missed Rosado Martinez and shattered her daughter's laptop screen instead, which accounted for the blackout. Fortunately, none of the 6 children suffered any injuries during the shooting. Williams fled the scene before being tracked down and arrested about 40 minutes later. A Martin County grand jury indicted the man on capital murder charges in February of 2021. As of the case's latest developments, the legal proceedings were still ongoing. Number 6. Nicola Madden. On January the 11th of 2022, Nicola Madden died suddenly during a work Zoom meeting attended by her daughter and several colleagues. Subsequent reports indicated that Madden had suffered a massive heart attack at her home in Waterloo, Liverpool. The incident, which happened so suddenly that emergency services couldn't arrive in time to render her aid, reportedly took place the day after her 43rd birthday. Madden's daughter immediately called her father, Stuart McDougall, who in turn dialed 999. McDougall, who'd been amicably separated from Madden at the time of her death, set up a GoFundMe page to help pay for the resulting funeral expenses, managing to raise over $6,000 within the first 24 hours. Number 5. Micah J22. A female TikTok user identified only as Micah J22 sparked furious online debate after posting several videos in which she explained why she'd been fired from her home office job. In July of 2022, the woman told her followers that she'd used her laptop to work online but was locked out of the system after her employers had caught her cooking while on the clock. Her contract reportedly stipulated that she was not allowed to leave her desk during work hours and also mandated that the webcam remain activated to allow her activity to be monitored. Micah J22 complained about how her employers dealt with the situation, as they'd first told her she was fired before relenting slightly and opting to suspend her instead. Then they restored their original decision and fired her once again. Several viewers posted comments in support of the woman. Many were quick to point out the apparent hypocrisy of the fact that an employee working at an office could take a snack break, but those working from home weren't afforded similar privileges. Number 4. Alexandria Mora. Alexandria Mora was arrested by the police in Ontario, Canada, after live streaming intimate acts from a public library. At the age of 21, Mora, known online as Lil Secret, reportedly published over 50 videos beginning in the fall of 2014, all of which were recorded at either the Riverside or Fontainebleau branches of the library. During the salacious recordings, she exposed her genitals on camera and even employed certain adult toys on a number of occasions. On December the 29th of 2014, Mora was reportedly caught in the act by a library worker who demanded she leave the premises. The discovery prompted an official police investigation, but Mora wasn't arrested until March the 6th, when she went to the authorities of her own accord. She pleaded guilty to her criminal charges during a pre-trial hearing and was later sentenced to a year of probation plus a $250 fine. She was also forbidden from accessing local public libraries and required to provide a sample of her DNA to the Canadian Registry. Number 3. Jason Marshall. On January the 7th of 2013, UK man Jason Marshall murdered his lover, 58-year-old Peter Fasoli, before setting his apartment on fire and fleeing the country. The entire episode was recorded on camera, beginning with an intimate encounter between Fasoli and Marshall, who was in his 20s at the time, before the situation quickly escalated. Marshall, posing as a policeman, began physically overpowering Fasoli and threatening him with a knife. The latter was then dragged out of the camera's purview as Marshall proceeded to fatally strangle him. Audio recording revealed that the man then spread a flammable liquid around the apartment and set it ablaze to destroy evidence of the crime. Marshall used the victim's credit cards to purchase a plane ticket to Italy. He also began sending concerned messages to Fasoli in an attempt to divert suspicions away from him. The house fire was initially ruled an accident, but in November of 2014, webcam footage of the grisly incident surfaced when the victim's nephew decided to research his family history. After reviewing his late uncle's hard drive, which had been recovered from the flames, the nephew came upon a 7-hour recording that included the murder itself and immediately contacted the authorities. Investigators subsequently learned that Marshall had been imprisoned in Italy since July the 9th of 2014, serving a 16-year sentence for the murder of 67-year-old Vincenzo Lale in Rome. For Fasoli's killing, Marshall was extradited to the UK and sentenced to life, with a minimum of 39 years before he could be considered for parole. Number 2. Brian Dixon. On April the 15th of 2011, 32-year-old Brian Dixon gained access to a Chinese exchange student's apartment while she chatted with her ex-boyfriend via webcam. 23-year-old Quan Liu, a foreign student enrolled at New York University, was strangled by the intruder as her ex, Xian Meng, watched in helpless horror. Liu was then dragged away from the camera and Dixon assaulted her. Meng eventually saw an unclothed Dixon appear on Liu's camera before the screen abruptly shut off. By the time the police arrived at the scene, Liu was already dead. Although the ensuing autopsy's results were inconclusive, medical examiners listed mechanical asphyxiation as the most likely cause of death. DNA found on the victim's body was linked to Dixon, who it subsequently emerged had a documented history of violence. On April the 7th of 2014, Dixon was found guilty of murder and consequently sentenced to 25 years to life behind bars. Number 1. Joshua Kaufman. California resident Joshua Kaufman used his MacBook's remote camera capabilities to aid the police in capturing a thief who'd broken into his Oakland apartment and stolen the device. Kaufman, who worked as a designer, reported the incident to the authorities in March of 2011, listing his laptop, Kindle, and jewelry as the items stolen by the intruder. Dissatisfied with the police response, Kaufman decided to use a security app called Hidden to try and locate the computer himself. The app allowed him to track his device as well as use the webcam to take pictures when it was activated. It took a few days for the thief to turn on the laptop, but when he did, Kaufman immediately contacted the police, sending them pictures of the man as well as personal information he'd typed, including his work email address and Facebook account. Officers initially disregarded the creatively obtained evidence, prompting Kaufman to post the photos online. He immediately garnered the attention of the press, at which point the police took action. The thief was ultimately identified as 27-year-old Muthana Aldabashi. The latter was arrested at his Oakland home, allowing Kaufman and his laptop to be reunited at long last. Thanks for watching. Would you rather never be allowed to use any form of social media again or have your mugshot go viral? Let us know in the comments section below.